It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Alaja Nima Akashat Zubiri, how are you today?
I'm happy Hijrah to Muslims around the world. Yesterday was the first Muharram and the first New Year, our lunar calendar for Muslims. So for those of us who have religious rights, we know why we must use the Hijrah calendar. And so congratulations to us. We've made it to 1446. Yeah. I was really excited just thinking about it. Yeah, I have to fast next Monday for the Ashura and Tashura. I just marked my fast to Ramadan.
Oh, good to have you. How are you doing, Mariam Longa?
Good. Tomorrow is my birthday.
Yes, we know.
You know, I'm just acting it. Normally, it would just be silent, but let's just, tomorrow is my birthday. But anyway, my weekend was good. My son, they had a food fest at their school, so that's where I spent, most of the day. And I met an older gentleman who, sat with me and talked about the show and some of the things that we had discussed. And just sends his love and admiration and says, well done, ladies, you're all doing very well. They're so very proud of us. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Amaka Fresh, how you doing?
I am. Good morning. I had an amazing weekend, had family, cousins in town, so that was good. And then coming into work today, I realized that on the roads, they've taken away all the leading into from Bodilon to the third mainland, they're taking away all the, I don't know whether they are the breakers or the joinders on the road, right?
So it affects your cars.
Yes, it's affecting the cars, yes. And then it's causing a lot of traffic, like getting on the side. I wonder if it rains, I wonder what's going to happen, because this morning, as early as it was causing a lot of traffic. I hope they sorted that, because I think they should be doing it maybe two, when they take out two, they sort it out, not take out the whole stuff.
Well, I think they're trying to do it before the rain starts again, so hopefully they can finish quickly.
It's really crazy.
I was on the island over the weekend, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
So tell us, happy birthday.
In fact, my neighbors were really, they're not happy with me. I didn't do anything in the house. They didn't even see my brake light. But Saturday was great. I hung out with my cousins, my dad's side. It was good to see quite a number of them. Many of them have jackpot, but a few that are in Nigeria. We had a conversation. It was really nice just to see people to reconnect.
Yeah.
So now we're being intentional about planning additional events where we all come together. So I encourage everybody to also try it out, because somebody was saying, one of my cousins said, our fear is that we don't start marrying our children, don't start marrying themselves because they don't know themselves. Just having kids and we don't know where they go. Especially when they travel abroad, they don't go and do research. They just marry. I love you, I love you, I love you, and that is it.
No, rationalizing this your idea of cousin mates, and I'm moving away from exclusively family birthdays and parties to friends.
Yeah.
And you're moving to families. I was like, this thing needs to make a lot of sense to me. Let me go back. Because because it's important. Those days in the village, although people used to do meetings, family meetings in Lagos, so that your cousins, you don't come and bring one cousin and say,
very important. Because the longer family, we did a family reunion 1 year like this. We had T-shirts and all sorts of things. Please, let's do it again, the longer family. That was good, yes.
That was a really nice
one. Really good idea. So I'm really happy about that, and that was pretty much my weekend.
I think the Fujas should call you out.
Yeah, no, the Fujas. The Fujas were plenty.
And you guys hang out like
meet,
So we always meet. Like once in a while.
Holidays.
My dad, my uncle's place doing Salah. We're always there, so we all kind of see each other. But the Akabasha I hardly do. So, but
it's a much smaller family.
Akabasha are both equally big.
But they are not
equally big. Yeah, but Fuja is a bit more close knit than theirs.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's go on a short break. When we come back, look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Before I go into the review, I must acknowledge the passing of an uncle, Alhaji Bashiru Adio Olokudano. He passed away at the age of 93. They did the funeral yesterday. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there, but may his soul rest in peace. And I just have to greet my uncle Dr. Femi Olokudano. He called me. You're not going to be there. Unfortunately, a lot of things happened. I couldn't make it, but may Allah grant him Jannah. Okay, let's continue now with the paper. We're going to start with The Nation. ECOWAS re-elects Tinubu, mobilizes for standby force. 3,000 fake graduates face persecution. 4 banks open bid to raise 1 trillion naira from capital market. New UK Prime Minister terminates deportation of migrants to Rwanda policy. The Nation, blueprint reporters, families kidnapped in Kaduna. EFCC, Morocco. EFC asked Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria to watch list Bello. And knelt fund opens portal for state-owned varsity students. Okay, which story?
Let me take Bello. So Bello is troubling the EFCC chairman.
It's Bello. Which one the Bello?
Yahaya Bello, former governor of Kogi State.
Fully.
He's disturbing
Mr.
Ola Olukoyede of the EFCC, who is the chairman of the EFCC, because he have carried the man from here now to Tunisia, where he had to go and meet. He went to deliver a paper in Tunisia on a session on illicit financial flows. Thereafter, he had to see the head of Interpol in North Africa on intelligence on the ex-governor, because that the ex-governor had attempted to go to Morocco via Cameroon, and they botched it. And so they know he's targeting the North African countries. So they have given Interpol assignment on the North African countries of Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, to keep watch list. And they've added Egypt, Libya, and Sudan. Help us to watch that angle, because it's that angle they think that he wants to pass and go. And, he's facing a 19-count charge, of course. And he has also applied, although that last hearing, his own lawyer applied to the court to withdraw his appearance for the former governor. But he also said that the former governor was applying to the court to transfer the matter from Abuja to Kogi State. Which one we fear? We don't want another Ibori example, but that was what's happening. And EFCC is saying that they will do everything to make sure that the ex-governor does not go anywhere, including attempting to attempting to enter the governor's governor house or governor quarters in Kogi State, because they believe that that's where he's been hiding all this while. I hope that they have success, but they have told them, Governor Bello, former Governor Bello, stop stressing EFCC.
Honestly.
Okay, so for those of you following the United Kingdom story, so after his landslide victory, the British Prime Minister, Minister Keir Starmer, began to announce during his speech the reversing of the termination of the controversial Rwandan deportation policy introduced by the former Conservative Prime Minister. He said that the scheme was to send asylum seekers to Kigali. It's officially scrapped, marking a significant policy shift under the new Labour government. Starmer emphasized his commitment to ending what he described as an ineffective and inhumane immigration policy. The Rwanda scheme was dead and buried before it started. It's never been a deterrent. And I remember, we recall this was a very, very controversial policy that was raised by the Conservative. So he said the Labour had pledged to halt the Rwanda deportation policy on the day if he was elected, and argued that the policy was not effective but also costly and inhumane. So he won with the landslide victory. Obviously, many
you see that one policy is happy
with the Conservatives.
At every political debate that they had, the former Prime Minister was lashed, booed on this policy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got the major headline. So our President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was re-elected as the
chairman of ECOWAS.
Chairman of ECOWAS. As we remember last year.
Given that.
Yeah, as we remember last year, July 9th. It's been a year since he was elected. So it's been a year, July 9th, since he was elected. And he had just been a month in office at the time. But anyway, ECOWAS, the unity of the 16-member body, as we know, was threatened because of all the coup d'etat that happened in 3 of its member states, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic. And they are now ruled by military juntas. And they also formed what they called Alliance of Sahel States, which is outside the ECOWAS. AU has rejected this move. And so, they're trying to foster like a better relationship with these 3 member states. So the chairman, that's our president, has said he's appointed the president of Senegal to sort of be like our ECOWAS special envoy with these 3 countries, so that it will, foster better relationship with these 3 countries and bring them back. And then he also said that, it's important for member states to fulfill their financial commitments to the regional body, and this will help them effectively tackle security challenges. He also said that it is crucial to take off the ECOWAS Standby Force, ESF, to combat terrorism, banditry, and violent extremism. So this is something that this present ECOWAS administration is trying to push as well, but they need the involvement of all ECOWAS states, especially in their financial obligation to the body. Yeah.
Okay, so I have the 3,000 fake graduates that face persecution. The federal government yesterday confirmed that the probe of the 3,000 alleged fake graduates uncovered by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, was ongoing. Minister of State for Education, Tanko Sununu, who made this known to the nation yesterday, vowed that those indicted will be prosecuted for forgery. Tanko also explained that the report of a panel that investigated allegations of degree racketeering in foreign and private universities was ready, and that fake graduates were part-timers who illegally found their way into the universities. They did this because they wanted to most of them finished from universities like Togo, Benin Republic, and they wanted to be part of the NYSC. They wanted to serve, do their National Youth Service Corps. So because of that, they came in to do that. He said they created a 7-man panel committee on that. Reports have been submitted, so they're waiting on the decisions of the FEC in order to go ahead with lots of the recommendations that were made. He also said that those who obtained certificates through the back door lack skills, appropriate knowledge, and cannot add any value to the economic development of any nation, so that this is being proved so that it doesn't happen anymore.
Okay, moving on quickly now to the Punch. Fuel scarcity looms as depots raise petrol price to 770 naira to the litre. Mother-daughter killed in Ogun gas explosion, 2 hospitalized. Flooding. FG activates state emergency centers. Governors order evacuation. Varsities boil again as federal government ASU meets workers' protest on Tuesday. ECOWAS Senegal Togo presidents to woo Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Poverty alleviation. Court orders Buhari's minister to explain 729 billion naira disbursement. And budget. FG releases 1.2 trillion for capital projects. Okay, which story are we taking?
Okay, so the major headline has captured that we are likely to have another fuel scarcity era, and according to the the National Vice President of IPMAN, Hamid Fashola, he said that most of the filling stations that are not open for business do not have fuel because they cannot buy. He said that this, the private depots, they are selling at 715 naira to a litre or 720 to a litre, and if you buy at that cost, how do you want to sell? It's also reported that some filling stations in Abuja are already selling at 900 naira per litre. And they have various reports across other areas, states, in Ado-Ekiti, the long queues in Lagos, every other reports like that they have. It's just heartbreaking to see this. And I like that the National Vice President of IPMAN is directly calling out NNPCs at the moment. You are the sole importer of petrol. NNPC should come out and explain to us what exactly is happening. All of us have had to queue at NNPC filling stations, but even those NNPC, those ones on my axis, sometimes you don't even see them open. Yeah. You know, so it's worrisome. We should have a tight plan now.
Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Let me take the human interest story. So something terrible happened at Ibafo, Ogun State, over the weekend. A woman known as Aishat Sharifat and her 7-year-old were killed toward the explosion in their house. So according to the story, the lady asked her 7-year-old child to instructed her to light the gas cylinder to prepare their evening meal. While the child was trying to light the cylinder, a neighbor identified only as Abiodun reported that the cylinder burst into flames and consumed the entire room. Both of them died instantly. Two others who were close by had to be hospitalized because they also experienced really threatening, life-threatening injuries. It was really, really sad story.
Yeah,
it's also important. What kind of cylinder did they describe? Is it that one cooker cylinder?
I don't.
Yeah. So flooding, the federal government on Sunday has confirmed that it has activated various emergency centers across the country to help in tackling the flood situation. NEMA says that, that they are working with state governments to send out warnings, that there's and then the DG also dropped a red alert. Sorry, the Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation dropped a red alert saying that 21 more states might suffer flooding. So far, we have 10 states and the federal FCT that have experienced the flooding, but that it will continue. And Nigerians need to be aware there are emergency centers across the country, so we need to know where these centers are. They're also advising that people who live on those plains should move away from the area. So now this is my problem with it. It says, the floods are coming, move away. I would rather give people a particular time period, specific, tell them the whole of June or the whole of July or July to August, and then a few more days before the time also remind people. The reason why people don't get up and leave is not because they don't want to, is that they have their life around where they live. To get up and move, they have to prepare for that. So if you give them something so that they can prepare towards, this, we've sent out alerts or we've sent out warnings is not enough. So NEMA is even confirming that, yes, they get positive reaction from the states, but it seems as if it doesn't get to the people. People are not responding to their alerts. And I feel it's because we are not giving people some time to prepare, and that's important.
Okay. Yeah, so I have Justice Deinde Dipolu of the Federal High Court in Lagos has directed the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disasters Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, to give details of how 729 billion naira allegedly disbursed to 24.3 million poor Nigerians was carried out. The court ruled that the ex-minister should provide a list of all the beneficiaries, including their bank details, that received the 5,000 naira was disbursed over 6 months. This judge gave the orders, which was filed by the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. The statement, the true copy of it was released on Friday, whereby the former minister, Umar Farouk, filed a preliminary objection to the challenge, the suit, but the courts also dismissed that. According to SERAP, while delivering the judgment, held that the former minister is compelled by the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act to give information to any person, including SERAP, on how public funds were being disbursed. So he granted an order of mandamus directing them and compelling the ex-minister to do that, and to explain the rationale for paying 5,000 to 24.3 million poor Nigerians, which translated to 5% of Nigerians' budget of 13.6 trillion naira in the year 2021.
Okay, Daily Sun, major headline, mass protest in universities. Fulfill financial obligations to combat terrorism, Tinubu tells, urges ECOWAS members. Fear in Kaduna as gunmen abduct ex-NLC presidents, journalists and families. Jonathan Akpabio Clark, governor, to attend Niger Delta Stakeholders Forum. NDLA nabs Oshu Monarch, Chadian Youth Corps members for drug trafficking. Court orders Buhari's minister to account for 729 billion naira. And forex inflows into NAFEM rises to $1.45 billion. Okay, which story?
So I have the major headline in the Sun, and it's painful. So we've been hearing of the NASU and SANU issue of non-payment for about 4 months' salaries owed by the federal government, but they now have to, issue out some information on how they will go about their protest and eventual strike if they continue. They said that they were invited by the Minister for Labour and Employment, and as usual, when they got there, Minister was not on seat. Minister of State for Labour was not on seat. The permanent secretary to the ministry that received them could not make any commitment on the issue, and so they were disappointed. And so they've given out directives to all their state branches of NASU and SANU, and this is the joint action committee of the NASU ANSANU, Non-Academic Staff Union, as well as the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities Joint Action Committee that has now directed all members on series of industrial action that those going forward. They said compulsorily there should be a general meeting on July 8th, that's today, from all state action. Following that, there will be continuous protest, a general protest on July 18th. And they have other days like that they've outlined for that. They aim to, July 9th, they will have a nationwide protest aimed at drawing attention to their plight, and then a national protest scheduled in Abuja for July 18th, right. And then eventually a strike if at this point they don't get any commitment. But it's sad to see that no body of strong authorities mediating with them already. 4 months salary, if they owe the people there that are in labor, would they be happy? These are general issues that...
Second, that's story in daily
Yes, I have NDLEA. They've raided the Lagos base of a high-profile cocaine syndicate. It's headed by a couple, Agbakoba John Madu, who is 54 years old, his wife, Ijoma Chinwe Abakoba, and then they also have an associate. Her name is Okoye Ifoma Mary Jane. So he was arrested at their residence in, what's this famous place? Agor Palace in Okota. And then the wife and their associate was nabbed at plot 2205 Eugene Indubisi Close, Lily Estate, Samoa Dolphin area. This happened last Wednesday. NDLEA says it took months of intelligence for them to get to this point, and there had been surveillance going on their activities. They export and sell and distribute cocaine within and outside Nigeria. That's what they do. When they were arrested and their warehouse seized, they said 7 parcels of cocaine that weigh 7.652 kilograms were recovered. They had no fewer than 122 compressed pellets of the same drugs weighing 2.42 kg. Anyway, the total seizure was valued at over 2.1 billion in street value. That is their business as a husband and wife and people. That's what they do. You sell these drugs to children. Do you see how many children are just behaving? Just forgotten about their ambition, about their life. They are just living a reckless life because there are some people that have built their wealth and their livelihood on destroying other people's lives. It's so unfortunate. I hope that this does not become
I have the kidnapping story in Kaduna. Palpable fear has gripped residents of Kaduna following the upsurge in cases of kidnapping. The latest were the abduction of former president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Mr. Takir, in his hometown, Biniki, in Kaura local government area, and 2 journalists and members of their families. One of them, Mrs. Grace, said her 78-year-old father, former President General of the National Union of Electricity and Gas Workers, now National Union of Electricity Employees, was abducted at his residence about 8 p.m. on Friday. Shamang is the president and former of Gansi Aide for Widows, Orphans and Needy Foundations, popularly known as Gawon Foundation. Meanwhile, the NUG president said that this is a brazen and barbaric attack by suspected kidnappers, that the attack resulted in the abduction of Kaduna State correspondents of the Nation newspaper and the Blue newspaper alongside their families last night. He also told the members of their staff, journalists in Kaduna, that they should be quite vigilant while going about their activities. Meanwhile, Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president of Nigeria, has stated that had decried this part of insecurity in the country and called on security agencies to expedite actions on the release of Nigerians in captivity, and that they should increase and prioritize intelligence gathering because one of the customary court judges who was kidnapped has been released, but her son has not been released, and the abductors are demanding 150 million naira to release her children. And they also said that the popular singer called Rarara has been kidnapped on Friday. Yes, this is really sad. So they said that they should not forget what has been happening in Kaduna in the recent past and what they went through. So they need to nip this in the bud before it escalates and becomes something else.
Yeah, our final paper this morning, the Vanguard. CBN insists on another recapitalization, says Cardoso. Insecurity, Tinubu tasks ECOWAS member states on financial commitments. Court orders ex-minister to account for 729 billion naira. Major headline, brewing industry choking over high cost of raw materials. Kidnapped journalist, police comb forest as NUJ demands release. Who has the major headline on the beer?
Okay, I do have the major headline. So for the beer, the brewing industry is now facing severe cost pressure as price of local raw materials rise astronomically, undermining their backward integration strategy. He also said that some of the brewing industry, like that are going to fold up, and then they're calling a meeting because it's going to have an impact on employees losing their jobs. Some of them want to consolidate due to forex exchange, increase in forex, the high cost of getting foreign exchange. Regardless of that, they might have to still import their raw materials, which that cost in the increase in their products. And if their products increase, then demand is now also going to reduce. So this is really impacting them seriously. And most of their raw materials, which they get, which are like the sodium, the wheat, they're finding it very difficult to get. So this has really impacted on them.
This is a topic that we need to discuss because I mean, when we encourage companies to do the backward integration, you think that would help them to buffer in this kind of season. But obviously, they're saying it's been undermined.
Yes.
Okay, let's see if we can take one more story. The Nigerian Tribune, very quickly. Unfortunately, we can't. We run out of time.
No.
That's all we can take on front page review this morning. When we come back, we can move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So our hot topic today is about the Niger State Governor, Mohammed Bago, has been caught on video ordering his security detail to slap and deal with an Islamic cleric during the Fidal prayers for the late wife of his deputy, Zainab Yakubu Garba, at the deputy governor's residence in Mina. According to the report, the governor, who was in the midst of sympathizers, requested a volunteer to offer prayers for the repose of the deceased. When the cleric indicated interest in offering the prayer, Mr. Bago became furious and asked if he was a cleric. He says, "Are you a cleric?" He asks. Many have condemned his act. What are your thoughts on this? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-0764-1679, 090-24163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so what are your thoughts when you saw this video? Because I don't know why people were surprised. This is not the average narcissistic, patriarchal, mentality that we have, that many women deal with in their homes a lot of times. And when we talk about it, it's as if women are just complaining. But sometimes these acts seem to come out, and people are now discussing, because he's a governor, like he should know better. And that's why I always argue, like, do we think these leaders are going to come from one special planet, or are they not from what we are? But what are your thoughts? I mean, on this video, let me start with you, Nima.
I saw the governor speaking Hausa, which I don't understand, and I heard him say to someone, "Slap him." And the video shows that a young man had been slapped, and he was on his knees. I didn't like that position at all. That took away his dignity to life, and I felt, to see him crouching on the ground in front of him, that annoyed me. And I think the governor should understand that we're not in a monarchy. This is not his palace. He's an elected official, elected by the people of Niger State to govern for a limited period of 4 years. It's also very annoying to see that he was at a Fidal prayer, and the death, the death that key deputy governor wife is not telling him that that is the inevitable outcome of everybody. That, he's doing Lord and Master to the extent somebody had to be beaten to fall on his knees. I did not witness the slap in the video, but I saw that person had been beaten and he was on the ground. That part broke me. No human being should be made to feel that way in front of a crowd of people, no matter what his offense was. And as governor, whatever the court has not ruled on, because you're in a democracy, you should not execute it. These governors, if you see them in their states, awaiting death sentence people are plenty. They refuse to sign an execution order, and yet you're slapping somebody with which hand.
Let me come to Miriam, because some will see this video and say, the culture there, the fact that you crouch or kneel down or bow is part of the culture. So somebody else might be interpreting that as being, I don't want to use the word submissive, that's subservient, being subservient. But do you think that's what you saw in that video? Yes, we understand what he said, but what do you make of that video?
Okay, so first of all, I heard when he asked who, cleric someone should give the prayers. Yeah. Well, I got confused between then the prayers and then the slap him, hit him. I'm still trying to understand, asking him if he was a cleric. And I thought maybe in his prayer, did he say something wrong? Did he not say the right prayer?
He wasn't even allowed to pray.
So for me, what happened in between? What did he do in between? Now, that's on one side. Let's say, that he did something wrong and he deserved to be punished for it. The slap him was not necessary. But to see in the north people crouching in front of people that they maybe are their elders or who they're their leaders is not an unusual thing. It shows respect. It shows, okay, especially if you think you have done something wrong, that you're sorry. So that happens. So to stand, and it's very hard to see someone who is either your junior or someone that shows you respect to stand and look at you face to face, So I don't know if he had crouched in his own capacity as maybe he felt that he had done something wrong. Now, the slapping him, I don't know why he had to slap him. If it was something that was so grievous, they could have arrested him, taking him out of the place, or warned him, if it was not such a grievous thing, but maybe an embarrassing thing, don't ever do that again. This is a very important gathering that we have here. We're here to pray for the deceased, and maybe this person was taking, doing something that was not right in that place. So it's in the word slap, but in the crouching is usually not seen as unusual. Right. But I don't know the circumstances in which he led him to crouch and then start shouting slap.
I always think that this conversation sometimes looks hypocritical to me, because the average Nigerian, forget man or woman, the average Nigerian always feel that they can oppress somebody. Yeah. So somebody, you give your car to a mechanic, and maybe he buys a fake part to put in your car, and something happens, and you get there, you're upset, and you slap him. Now, the right thing for you, according to the law, is to get the police, arrest him, and let there be the proper justification for any sanction that is brought to him. But what we do here is we slap, we oppress, we do it all the time. So my question goes back again, what I've been asking. Yeah. We always think because somebody is a governor, suddenly he came from planet XYZ. That planet he came from, he should just know how to behave. That is not because it's not Nigeria because this is a man. All of them grew up in this country where we've all been oppressing people. Let me let Amaka hear. What are your thoughts on this? Because that's how I feel that sometimes these conversations are hypocritical for me.
Because I want to get a clear context. So an Islamic cleric is supposed to be like a pastor or something, right? A religious leader. So I find it funny that you're at a gathering. First of all, you don't have respect for the people that you came to pray over their disease. So you won't want to start an act of violence in their space. First of all, it shows that you're a very disrespectful person, right? Then secondly, you did not appoint someone to say prayers. You said someone should volunteer to say prayers, and someone volunteered, whether they're cleric or not. And I find it very offensive that this person happens to be an Islamic cleric. That means a religious leader. And then seeing him crouch in front of you, I find it doesn't go down well with me, because for Christians, I know that our religious leaders are people that we revere, we hold in high esteem, we respect. So seeing a religious leader crouching like that and they're telling people to slap him and humiliate him doesn't go down well with me. For me, it shows an abuse of power. Things should be dealt in a certain way. Respect our leaders, whether religious or not, otherwise, or politically appointed leaders, to handle situations in better ways. If there was a situation, you should take the person out and that should be investigated or questions should be asked. But being brazen like that in front of everybody, in front of people you came to help, suggests the kind of character and the kind of person you are. Because someone that is not a violent person or someone that is naturally not a disrespectful person would have acted in a totally different way.
So, therefore, the question is, why do we expect so much of these our leaders?
So I hear what you're asking about the hypocrisy, because there are videos also of where someone would have responded differently, where maybe talk to the person respectfully, and you hear Nigerians say, what? If it was me, I would have slapped him. We have seen where somebody, did something wrong, and a woman raised her hand and slapped a child, and people are like, yeah, she deserved it. So our violence, we contextualize it, or, we just never have a one rule for how we view violence. For me, I've always stood by no violence. Like, there has to be a proper way that we conduct ourselves, express our grievances, and show disagreements. It does not always have to end up in you slapping, whatever. And if it's something against the law, there's a process that you follow. There is the police station, there's the whole investigation, all gamut of options to have followed instead of acting out that way. But we do this for every situation. And then the hypocrisy of Nigeria, I'll go back again. If he had done it another way, we would have heard why he did not slap him. If it's me, I would have slapped him. His face would have finished, So the truth now is, to us, Nigerians, who are we and what do we expect us to do in this situation? We need to choose one way, what we revere, what we respect, and what we'd rather do. Because I'm getting confused here.
But we need to take confusion here. Really, please help me. Because I like the example that, a young woman slapped. So the example is when somebody is provoked, they say, let me not use the Yoruba proverb because it's not an appropriate word. If somebody is provoked, you cannot tell the person not to react. Okay, there's even a better way. People say they beat picky, make them tell her.
There are consequences of that reaction.
You cannot beat a child and know the child's tears.
I totally agree with you, but there should be consequence for that reaction.
There will be consequences. Now, we can put it in context when a Nigerian not in office, someone who doesn't understand the Constitution, it's assumed when you run for office in this country that you have good knowledge of the Constitution that puts you in office, because that Constitution is what ensures that you made it to the office. So you are in office now as governor. You are not every Nigerian whose child was being beaten in front of them who's reacting. There was no provocation in this situation. They are two different. There's no confusion here.
No. Yes.
There was no provocation here. You're Lord and Master thinking you're in your monarchy. Hold on a minute, let me learn. You're thinking you're in a monarchy at a fidel prayer for the dead. You went there because your executive, His Excellency, sir, governor, you assume you're in your monarchy, you're king. You ask for someone to pray. And in Islamic context, when they ask for somebody to pray, anybody with the knowledge, my young son can think he has the knowledge and offer to pray. He doesn't have to be an imam or a cleric. What he is assuming, what he is talking about is because I am governor and an appointed cleric from the office of the governor. That's what he's talking about. But if you talk about cleric, anybody with the knowledge of the Quran can pray at a fidel prayer.
Okay, so the point I was trying to point out, I hear you, but the point I was trying to highlight and amplify is that Mr. Governor is not just going to become somebody that is knowledgeable about the Constitution overnight. Because the truth is, the woman who is slapping somebody because somebody also should have that responsibility. No, be able to choose. Just like you said, she can choose her reaction, but that her reaction must have consequences. You cannot dare slap because you are feeling emotional. Yes. Slap somebody. There should be consequence. So that is why
it recognizes when a person is provoked.
Yes.
Even the court excuses
your provocation too must have consequences.
Yes.
So let me say something. So we need to take into consideration the environment we find ourselves. It is said that we're all the product of our environment. Yes. And the Nigerian environment, unfortunately, happens to be a violent kind of kind of society. That's the truth. In Nigeria, if I take my car to a mechanic, for example, like Morayo said, and he buys fake parts and puts petrol and puts in my car, my engine now knocks. And I go there and I'm telling him, Mr. Man, I'm not sure why you did this, but I don't know why. He'll feel I'm a mugu. Yeah. He'll feel I'm stupid. That is the truth. He will start raising his voice at me. I started, Madam, you be woman, you don't know what they talk, leave that thing. But when I come with my gratitude to show I be fellow Nigerian, they crazy, so then you find out that they tend to simmer down. So it seems like the environment tries to bring out the madness in everybody. And like in Lagos, even driving on the road, you find yourself that you decide that today you're praying, you're fasting. By the time you start driving, by the time you drive 1 kilometer, you're already cursing and everything.
Let me take this call. Odio's been holding for a minute. I'll come back to you, Amaka. Good morning, Odio. Sorry for keeping you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody in the studio. I think it doesn't have to do with the position of a governor. It's just something of morals. If you can recall, this thing has happened sometime in my state during the time of former Governor Adams Oshomole, where he openly told a lady, go and die. A lady that was hawking. So I don't think it has to be because of his position, because he knows about the Constitution and all that. It has to do with your personality. It shows the kind of person that the governor is. It's not because of his position. It's his type of person. This is the one what he just did now is the one we are able to see outside. For him to have been able to exhibit this type of attitude outside, you should know what he can do behind the camera. So I don't think, for me personally, I don't think it's a thing of position, being a governor or all that. It's just his type of person. And I discourage this type of attitude. It's wrong. Thank you very much.
So imagine I am the governor right now. What can provoke a governor like this? What can provoke me? The audacity for you to even volunteer. We are here. And you know, the thinking. That has provoked me. I'm calling for clerics. It is your own kind that is coming forward to come and pray. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just telling you that the thinking that we have, because we always find something to provoke us to action in this country. Every little thing is a justification for me to be violent against you.
Yeah, so with what Nima said earlier, I think all of us here agree that the way he conducted himself is wrong.
Yes.
But the conversation here is, did he conduct himself in such a way that is alien to us? No, it is not. Yeah. But it is something that we have constantly spoken against. But we have been on this table, and Nima, I have heard you, in some situation, agreed or, supported some acts that that we disagreed on because you felt that that person was justly provoked. And provocation, really, it can be, it's determined by you. So this governor feels he was provoked for whatever reason. I still feel that there's a gap we need to fill, whatever it is. But what conversations happened for him to have felt provoked? But he felt provoked. So if you can give a pass to a woman who felt provoked and slapped a child, then you should give the same pass to the man who thinks a cleric, a person who was not a cleric, because he was asking, are you a cleric, should be slapped. That's what I'm saying. But if you do not think that what the governor did was right, then any other situation where we find people who feel that they were provoked, raise their hand and hit people, or ask for security personnel or police to attack them, then then you are playing. Well, in this case, then Nigerians were playing like two sides of defense.
We are belittling a lot of issues, and we are beclouding this issue. So the governor now, who is not every Nigerian, has decided, you're too small to stand up for. When I call for prayer, now slap him.
Is that what
that's what was interpreted. I don't understand how, sir. I will not say that I understand properly. But he said, he told his detail, slap him. And that one did not really slap him. Slap him! Are you afraid to slap? That kind of thing. And then he was slapped. That's the governor now. We're now comparing it to a mother, or an auntie who had to watch a video of her niece being slapped by a co-student over and over, and at some point raised her hand. We've compared it to that. We've also compared it, just a moment. I know what you're talking about, so I'm going to put it in context. We've compared it to the swearing in Anambra, where a former first lady thinks, it's good to go and provoke Madam where she's sitting, and walks with her two shoes to where Madam party chair woman was sitting and started to taunt her or something, and that he broke into a fight. We have beclouded it, and I'm saying, in the highest of authorities are courts. And courts will specifically pick times and places where provocation is legal.
Exactly.
When it's justified.
Exactly.
And we're saying in this case now, if we justify every kind of provocation, we cannot now call out this non-provocative instance.
Yes.
That's what we're saying.
Because when I watched the video, I didn't see a situation where the guy would have provoked him or to the extent that even if
he wasn't even close to me.
To the extent
I'll come to you.
to the extent of him saying they should slap him. And even if you want to, you feel that the punishment should be meted out to the man, that something happened.
Let me take this call.
Should be done
holding for a while. Shola, thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Morning.
You see, this is the situation in this country. When you see a governor like this that behaves like this in the public, especially somebody that's supposed to be in a sober mode where there is a fidel prayer going on. Imagine there is this situation whereby people are allowed, or states are allowed to have their own police. What they will have done. You see, these people, the gra that is in some people, I don't want to say the other way. I mean, let these people, they should laugh. Who are they? Where are they coming from? What is their thinking? What is their way of behaving? For to say prayer in a very cool, quiet atmosphere, somber atmosphere, is the silence the last thing to hear from the people that are supposed to be at the top of their affairs or controlling the state? I'm sorry. We have a long, long way.
Oh, certainly. Thank you, Mr. Shola. I really believe that all of us are saying the same thing in different ways. I totally agree with Nimiel. You're right. The courts can see and recognize different kinds of provocations. But what we are saying is that the genesis of it is something that is in our society. The same way a rich man feels, or a wealthy man feels that I can slap my houseboy because he sold $5,000 and I'm justified to do it. Same way a regular folk can beat up his neighbor because, hey, you parked in my space. It is all of us. So now, because I suddenly knew that you slapped your houseboy for stealing $5,000, tomorrow you run for office, and somehow automatically I feel like you read the Constitution, you respect human rights, and you definitely not do that to your subordinates. This is impossible. So the conversation I want to also see is that all of us, we are all somewhat in different ways guilty, where we have brewed a society where we don't have respect for human beings, regardless of where you are. So, that's the point.
That's not every Nigerian.
That's the point. That's many Nigerians.
Someone who saw someone on one way is a Nigerian, full blood, no mixed blood. It's not my...
And a governor.
And a governor. He had full authorities. That was an arrestable offence. They simply picked the man who was later released that same day for warning. They see they do that one way there. This one was at a civil event. And you cannot use this brush to paint me.
Okay, let me put I have to go on a short break. When I come back, we continue this. I'll let you finish. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the governor of Niger State. Go ahead.
Just as I was saying...
sorry, hold on a second. Adewale is holding for a minute. Good morning, Adewale. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And all other people that are there. God bless you. You see, it is very important that we continue to pray every day that, Lord, guide me. Don't let me give myself to the spirit of error. It is that spirit that misled Moses, and he never made it to the promised land. Whatever you do in anger, under the heat of anger, you always put the person into making error, into disrepute. And that is exactly what happened to that man. He has no reason whatsoever to have taken the step he took. But I can only hope that I don't know what the situation is now, whether he has tendered apology to the person that was assaulted. And that is, by the way, please, Mo, I've always followed your program. If you see a book I did on agriculture now that I've been trying to put before the president, even people that are around, that are close to him, I don't know. They told me that when this book is ready, let me know. I will put it forward. I've been what I'm suffering now, the pain, the tension I'm facing, is more than what it took me as I went through in 6 months that I used to package that book. It is what will take agriculture to your business.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adewale. Yes.
Okay, so I was saying that provocation, as Nima explained it, she says that there's that the court will determine that it is justified. And I'm saying that at the point that you have responded, nobody knows whether it's justified until you go through the courts. So everybody who has responded back in violence felt at the point that they were justifiably provoked. So that's on one hand. But what we're saying is that going forward, or right now, we have a culture of responding with violence for a lot of things. And we expect it also of each other. In places or times where we haven't responded that way, we have been called, Mumu, you're not smart enough. If it was me, I would have given him. Don't you see they're afraid of me? Because they know me. That is our culture. We know that. Anybody that says they don't know that, that's, you know, we're playing funny. There are some people, of course, we don't generalize that every Nigerian is like that. Of course, there are some people, but generally, there's just a culture of you respond with violence, especially if you feel you're older, if you feel you have a bigger position than someone, if you feel like you're in a position of leadership, if you're a governor, a commissioner, the president, if you are the gatesman in front of a house, you know, if you are the taxi driver and if you are the bus driver, there's just something that makes you feel that you're a little above that person, and there's a way you must respond to situation. Now, for me, this conversation is to remind us, all of us Nigerians, that we have been hypocritical in many ways. You hear of a man who is very incensed because a woman has beat her house help so badly, you know, he's upset, rightly so, and then he goes to his workplace and he's bullying a co-worker who he feels, or a junior worker who he feels that is his subordinate and shouldn't have spoken to me like that. Who do you hell do you think you are? So you are justifiable here, but you have gone to do the same thing because it's the culture, it's how we know how to respond to some of the provocation. It has become our culture. When we say something is our culture, it does not mean it's what we want to be our culture, but because we have done it over and over, it has become a part of our life.
Part of what
does not acceptable does not mean that it's not something that we don't express it that way.
Conversation here is to highlight it. Let Nigerians know, because it has somewhat become a part of us. Even when you travel, people say, Nigerians, you hear them, they're shouting at each other. There are certain things that is not our...
Sometimes when we are shouting, we are actually joking.
What I'm just saying is that for us, it is who we are. But we're saying that we must begin to amplify these errors. And then, so that as we are raising the next generation, we are conscious of the fact that we cannot continue solving problems through violence. That's not going to work. Let me take this call and I'll come back to you, Nima. I know you want to be in perfect. Good morning, Damola from Niger State. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
My contribution might sound a little bit, I don't know. We actually live in this town. We know who the governor is. It's not if I'm taking sides with anybody, but you should see the boys these guys are pests. They go everywhere. At that boy's age, what should they be doing in gardens that is not even their business? And they misbehave a lot. So, and the governor is this kind of person that is a no-nonsense guy. He's actually very focused and a no-nonsense guy. But these guys, they're like pests. Every occasion, they're not even invited if they're there. They behave like, at that age, there should be something meaningful he's doing that in his life. What was he doing there? So we are still... Hello?
Can you hear me? The cleric? What is he doing there? Is it the cleric or the governor?
He's not a cleric. He has actually come out to make a video and actually apologize. I don't know, it could be, you know, he has claimed to be the boy of the governor since he was a banker. But you kept following he claimed from 1999 that he has been with the governor. They should make meaningful use of their time. He's actually the governor's boy. What does it mean? He has been with the governor since 1999, and you follow him to every function. They're actually pests. They should look for something meaningful to do with their time. So they actually deserve those slaps again. This is the second I'm hearing.
Okay, that's another angle. Thank you. So that's part of it. Yeah. So there are leeches like that follow top politicians around. So you become a leech, and then he sees you like he said, please come and pray." And I'm not saying I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm just giving an example. So you see somebody who has almost like a leech, and now he's offering to pray. I'm wondering, what are you doing here again? So there are different ways. But again, does it justify a slap? Because we can don't say what Damola just said. We can if we use what Damola just said.
He's not the first one who has leeches on him. Even celebrity. Yes, somebody with DMW who just follows the video praising him.
DMW, okay.
Israel. And follows him. Okay, sorry, Israel of the DMW. And follows him everywhere and just praises him and just that's what.
No, that's a leech that.
Made himself useful.
That's a paid sidekick.
He's a leech that has made himself useful.
Okay.
So now don't and say what you don't know.
They have a relationship.
What kind of work is that? Which category of work?
So leech is.
So just a moment. I'm sorry that it's a leech. That's the words that she generated. But there are people who walk around the corridors of successful people.
Yes.
Power, musicians, anything. They walk around the corridors trying to fit in, trying to find something to do. And so Israel has founderly fitting.
Hey, let's not make it out.
But this example is that there are people like that, and there are ways to deal with them. If the governor doesn't want somebody in his around or in the space around him, his details know what to do. He's not supposed to allow into the person in. But
space.
if the governor is attending a civil event, if he's not in the governor's circle, he could be in the deputy governor's circle. This was at the deputy governor's house.
Yes.
The governor could be in the stadium, and this supposed leech will be there. These are public events. This is not the governor's house. The person is not struggling to be at the governor's entrance. You know, it's not like the person was attending a public event or a civil event or a social event, whatever it was. Just a moment that the governor was attending. If he offers to pray and you don't want him to pray, you simply say, not you, next person.
Exactly.
You don't slap him, Bawo. Yeah. And they are not the same. It's not a general Nigerian culture. We are not all doing like that.
And the funny thing was that, like I said, he should have appointed somebody to pray. This one, he did not do that. And he offered. He made it open to anybody, and anybody can pray, right? And if you're not comfortable with the person that, volunteered, you say, not you, next person. It's that simple. It shouldn't be a big deal. And if you don't want, the same way you're saying, you should hold him, slap him. If you don't want this leech to leech on you and follow you around, you just tell your aides that this person cannot be seen around me. If you're seen around me, you'll be arrested or whatever. You're a threat to my life or a threat to me. So the governor also has that. So for the fact that he allows this person to follow him everywhere, and then now wants to, exactly, because he has a right to, regardless of whoever wants to follow. If your security details feel that you're a threat to the governor's life or a political person, you will not be there. That's the reality.
Right.
So for a fact he allows that person to be there, you shouldn't treat the person that way.
Can I please? Okay, so I'm happy with, the analogy I've given, because for me, if it works out just the way that you have described it, that this is a person that has found himself, that has pushed himself onto the governor's circle. Let's say that this is not the first time. Let's say he recognized him because he's seen him over and over again. And I said, young man, I don't want to see you. Tomorrow, young man, you're here. Did I not say, who is this person? Did I not say I don't want to see this person? Then we're now at a prayer. And then he gets up to pray. This is the same boy that I've been seeing around. I've been warning him not to be here. What is he doing here? Now, I'm giving this story, not justifying that the governor has to slap him or ask that he should be slapped. But I'm saying that because we don't know how much may have gone on, because from the response of the governor, he looked like he recognized him. Are you a cleric? Like he did, you are not a cleric. You should not be saying this prayer. What he should have done is, if he had asked for just the arrest of him, many of us too would have called him out for being overzealous. But he should have asked for his removal and the arrest of that young man, not the slapping. So the slapping is the problem. But to say, I don't want to believe that the governor just woke up one morning, sitting down, called for somebody to pray, and then he goes berserk. I'm thinking, based on his response, that there may have been situations where this boy has shown, or this man has shown his face many times. Now, this is something that happens in Nigeria all the time, where people just follow until they have build enough relationship or something that they find themselves there. That thing he did is a move. Something of power. All those motivational books that we tell people, push yourself to the front. Go and talk to the Ukraine. That's why I laughed. It's like, go and push yourself in the front. Yeah, you're not meant to be there, but pick the mic and
make sure you force yourself in
and
the
so that's what they do.
So
that is what we find people like this doing. So there are two things that have happened here. The way the governor handled it, and also who this person is. Is this something also now, Nigerians, that we encourage? Is this a job that you find yourself in circles and keep moving until you find that you have been accepted into the circle or embarrassed as he was?
I'll come to you in a second. Let me take Tanko. I'm calling. Good morning, Tanko. You're live.
Yes. Madam, I'm good to see all of you there. I'm highly impressed with all your contribution, what you are actually doing for the sake of this country. What is actually the problem of this country? They have a very good law, but they are not obedient to the law. You see, that most of them feel that they are above the law. And they have caused their children even to disobey. They don't even follow the law. You see, some of them who are in this authority, like the people who voted them into power, we find their children have become very, very nervous, very naggy children, very stubborn. You cannot talk to them. When you talk to them, they will now challenge you. We are talking about moral discipline in the society. what you are actually contributing, I'm always impressed and I'm happy.
Thank you,
So I wish Nigerians will know that we need to respect, we need to be respectful, we need to be disciplined. At least if we see elders, we should be able to respect elders.
Very much,
Just like the way I used to see.
Because many of us have traveled abroad, we lived, and we are provoked to do certain things, but we hold up, we hold our emotions because we know that I am angry, but this person can. We saw the video that was trending, 2 adults fighting in the UK, Nigerians over relationship. You do that, you get arrested. But here you can always call somebody to protect yourself. The point is that if you know that if there are consequences for everybody's provocations, people will redress and know how to adjust their emotions when it comes to it. The governor or the rich man or the poor man or the mechanic, everybody would adjust how they are provoked. So that will be drastically reduced in the eye of the public. The point I wanted to raise from this is that we should see a learning in these things. There's got to be a learning. We cannot continue to do the same thing. How we behave. We can and expect a sane society. It's not going to happen. If we recognize people's behavior and say, listen, even though this person is wrong, is in the wrong, there is a better, a more civilized approach in every situation. Yeah. So that's the approach that we're trying to preach, and that's what this show is about. We must show people there are different ways. You might do the hey, but there's also a decent way of doing it. Now that you have said that, well said.
And also, I want to say something. I want to say something. And also, a part of correcting things too is that, for example, what you said, for the governor that has recognized somebody like you again, it's also the duty of the people around him. Right?
Exactly.
His security detail, his aides, to know that Oga, this guy is like a trigger.
Alleging, we're not sure.
We're alleging, like I said, that this is a trigger for Oga, for example. Yeah. We're saying that you again, then the person stands up, right? You should take away that you should help the person. Yeah. Like, let's say, like people in political authorities, some of our leaders, even business personnel, CEOs, they're overworked. They have little they have triggers, right? So your job as an aide or someone around your PA is to protect them and take away those triggers. Yeah. So if you feel that all these leeches are a sign of trigger for them, then it's your job. If not, you should be replaced or fired. You're not doing your job.
I wanted to hear you. You know that now you have addressed general Nigerians. This one that's governor, have slapped somebody that is supposedly...
You apologize.
Now the same thing. His protege or his proxy has helped him to slap somebody in his state where he is supposed to lead them. Let's use the Nigerian word, rule them. How do we react to governor? This instance.
Public apology.
Before we go to the general, address the instance question.
Public apology.
I think from what the last caller said...
So it's Damola who lives in Niger State. Go ahead.
No. So if they feel that he did something wrong, I know that many people would feel that he did it as a father. Many people will agree that he did it as a father, as for his slapping and his embarrassment. If people now look, if a proper story is given to us and it shows that this man has just done something wrong, they will commend the governor for doing it. They will say that he was rightly provoked and justifiably provoked to have shown him the sort of, what's the word we use? It's discipline. He corrected him in the right way. He's a no-nonsense man that has corrected an erring youth in the right way. That's how Nigerians are going to look at it. But what we are saying, or what I am saying, is that going forward, an erring youth, whatever it is, there has to be a different way to correct him. I do not, okay.
You don't want him to
what will happen to him. Public apology.
You slapped a citizen of Niger State, an indigenous of Niger State. Address him.
So yes,
leave Nigerians
public apology. Yes, he needs to publicly apologize to the person and accept the fact that he should have done things differently. He should have handled the situation in a better manner, and he should not encourage other people to do the same, slap and assault people.
Okay, on that note, I think we can end this segment. That's what we can take on this segment. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So our second segment right now, the federal government of Nigeria vowed to invalidate any same-sex positions associated with the Samoa Agreement signed by the European Union, member states, and the African, Caribbean, and Pacific states, including Nigeria. According to the reports, the Samoa Agreement prioritizes human rights, democracy, and good governance, including gender equality and the rule of law. Joining us to discuss this, as the federal government has threatened legal action, is Hamed Tijani Mustafa, a digital communications expert, also a public affairs analyst. Welcome to the show, sir.
A very good morning to you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much for being here with us. So we understand that this Samoa agreement has been quite controversial because many states, as of last year, November, had declined signing this agreement. Quite a number of states had chosen not to. However, for some reason, Nigeria went ahead to sign, and the conversation has been around the clause. There's a particular clause within that agreement that allows for the gay LGBT movement. What are your thoughts on this? And could you give us a clearer picture on what this agreement is about and how we got ourselves into it?
Okay, so first of all, we didn't get ourselves into anything. The Samoa Agreement was something that came up after the 73rd United Nations Assembly in 2018. And this agreement should have been signed by Nigeria and other member states long before now. But it wasn't because COVID happened, you know, and the whole world went into some sort of reset. And so the conversation started again very recently. And like you rightly said, some member states refused to sign the agreement when it was officially signed on the 15th of November 2023 because there were certain clauses that some countries were very uncomfortable with, Nigeria inclusive. If you look back at the signing of this deal on the 15th of November 2023, you will discover that Nigeria was conspicuously missing from that signing. So what happened here was that Nigeria and other member states who had issues with one or two clauses sat down, and it took Nigeria a whole of 7 months to sit down, mull over this agreement, to find out that, to ensure that we're signing an agreement that does not in any way contradict our extant laws in the country. And having been satisfied that this was the case, Nigeria went ahead and signed on the 30th of June, which was actually the deadline for the signing of that agreement. So it is a bit sad to find that credible news mediums didn't do research enough to find out what that agreement contained. Yes, at the initial stage, there was an LGBT clause, you know, inserted into the agreement. But like you rightly said, when this conversation started, Nigeria and some other member states pushed against that, and that clause was expunged from that agreement, and Nigeria signed. And whatever be the case, changing Nigeria's laws when it comes to gay rights is something that you cannot do by signing a bilateral agreement. It's in our constitution. So you require an act of National Assembly, a constitutional review for that to happen. And I'm sure that the Attorney General's office, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Foreign Affairs were well and truly aware of this before Nigeria signed it. And like I said, it took us 7 months to review this agreement to ensure that we're not signing anything that was in contradiction to our extant laws. So it's the place that we are as a nation, and this is the reason why we're having this conversation, to be able to enlighten the general public on what the facts really are. And the fact is that the agreement that Nigeria signed, the Samoa Agreement, does not in any way contain any clause that gives any life to LGBT laws in this country.
Okay, thank you very much for that. But let me just watch the clip so that people understand who don't know what's going on can watch the minister address this issue with this clip.
On 28 June 2024, Nigeria signed the Samoa Agreement at the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States Secretariat in Brussels, Belgium. This partnership agreement involves the EU, its member states, and the OACPS members. Following the signing, there were widespread criticisms alleging that the agreement included provisions endorsing LGBTQ activities within Nigeria. The federal government has refuted these claims, attributing them to misinformation spread by Daily Trust and other outlets that failed to seek clarification.
We, however, did not envisage that Daily Trust and the people behind it could descend to the reckless level of attempting to set the country on fire by falsely accusing the government of signing a deal to promote LGBTQ. The federal government has decided to lodge a formal complaint to the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria's Ombudsman on this irresponsible reporting. In addition, the federal government will use every lawful means to seek redress in the court of law.
The information minister insists President Bola Tinubu's administration highly regards the Nigerian constitution and its laws.
The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not in any way sign anything that goes against our constitution, our laws, our culture, and our various faiths.
Adding more clarity to the Samoa Partnership Agreement, the budget minister confirmed there's no $1 million clause. He said the deal aims to boost Nigeria's capital across various sectors.
Within this agreement, there is nowhere where it is mentioned that Nigeria is going to receive 150 billion or any sum for that matter.
Copies of the agreement.
Thanks for saying that. So that's pretty much the report we're discussing. Maka, you had a question for our guest.
Yes, I have a question.
So are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, I have a question for you. So the declaration, will it be made available because it's supposed to be a public document, you know, the agreement. So will it be made public for us to go through the clauses?
Yes, well, I don't speak for the finance minister, the Ministry of Justice or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or any government at that. But I'm sure that this will be made public. From what I gather, the agreement will be ratified by the Federal Executive Council and then the National Assembly before it's then made public. So Nigerians can rest and sleep with two eyes closed, knowing fully well that our interest is secured in it. The federal government has come out to deny this. I doubt that they would, go ahead and sign this. And just so that we're clear, from what I know, when the federal government signed that agreement, they put a letter in it with their partners stating that if at any time it comes to Nigeria's notice that what they've signed from their reading of the agreement and the understanding, this is what we understand that this agreement is saying. And so we're signing this based off of this understanding of ours. If at any point that changes, then we have the right to withdraw ourselves from any such agreement that is contrary to our extant laws. So I suppose that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has done absolute justice to this to ensure that Nigeria is well and truly secured in this agreement that has been signed. And just to answer your question once again, I'm beyond sure that that document will be made public for Nigerians.
Okay. Thank you. So, as you know, there's news and TV and media on one side, and then there's the Nigerians on Twitter, and they have concerns. And the concerns, I feel we've answered that this does not automatically say that we are, allowing for the controversial LGBTQ laws in our country. But secondly is, could you give us a summary of why it was necessary to sign this agreement?
Okay, so Nigeria is a member state of an organization called the African, Caribbean and Pacific Organization. We've been members of the organization since, I think, 1975, if I'm right. And so this body and the EU entered into an agreement that is supposed to foster relationships between its members and the European Union. And so Nigeria being a member automatically would benefit a lot from this agreement. One of the things that this agreement looks to do for Nigeria, and let's be clear that the minister said there is no financial benefit to Nigeria for signing this. There are a lot of developmental benefits, so there'll be human and capital development, protection of human rights, and what have you, sustainable development goals. All of those things will come into play. And it only helps Nigeria move forward and take its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. We cannot isolate ourselves from global politics, and this is why it is essential that Nigeria seeks this kind of arrangement or understanding with maybe countries or organizations further help Nigeria develop and move forward. So this is what this agreement is really about. There's no cash inducement like most Twitter users have been made to believe that Nigeria got, I think, $150 billion for signing this agreement. There's no such thing. Of course, it will bring opportunities to Nigerians, business opportunities, where Nigerians, everyday Nigerians on the street can, benefit from and make some sort of financial advancement from. But it's not as if money is being handed directly to the federal government. Doors will be open, opportunities will be made available to Nigerians because of this deal, definitely. And that's the reasons why countries do this.
Let me take this call. Mr. Gabriel from Egbeda, thanks for calling. You're live.
Thank you. I think I appreciate the explanations being given as also by the government. Just going memory lane, but I remember vividly during the the military president then, Ibrahim Babangida, when we signed an agreement with the Islamic State, and the government came out to deny that it was not true, and there were a lot of mistakes then. We can say as of today, eventually we became member of the Islamic State. Secondly, we're talking of LGBTI, and you see this international organization, they are doing everything possible to win Africa continent into them. We have them in South Africa, we have them in Burkina Faso, we have them in Zimbabwe. And now, Nigeria is signing agreements that have alignment. You will not believe that we have alignment with the agreement. So the government is denying and then going to press and saying that there's a clever way for which this international organization will come in and through, some people will say through the back door, but it is obvious to mark it. We'll find out that eventually Nigeria will be registered as being participating in LGBTI. And that's what we have to watch. Right? We will deny it today, but we're going to find out that there's a clever way for which Nigeria will be listed among the states that participate in LGBTI.
Thank you very much. Nima.
There are several articles of this agreement that we have been made to know support this controversial group, the LGBTQ. And there are several countries who are also members of the African Caribbean group who are open, whose laws are open to this. Is it sufficient for Nigeria to have a special agreement excluding those sections and articles of this agreement for themselves as a country? Is it not, don't you see that, there's... Cause a problem. Yes, there's a little bit of hypocrisy here on if our government is saying, no, we cannot have signed. And can we truly, as a sovereign nation, just exempt ourselves totally? Or can we use a note to exempt ourselves?
Good one.
Well, I think that this agreement is pretty clear. Member states were told that they had the right to domesticate this agreement as they find fit. It's one of the key things that countries go into. They tell themselves, when you're signing an agreement, you look at it and tell yourselves, you cannot agree with every item listed in that agreement. So you raise objections where necessary. Nigeria and so many other countries raise objections where they felt necessary. And from the information available to me, which I have verified time and again, is that clause has been completely expunged from this agreement. So it's not as if Nigeria is excluding itself alone. It's not a Nigerian thing. So many other countries were not present at the signing of this agreement on the 15th of November in 2023. They waited also until they had gone over it and looked at it and said, oh, we are not in agreement with this. This does not line up right with our law. And Nigeria clearly did that. And so it's not just a one nation against the rest. It's a committee of nations who came together and said, no, this cannot be. And for these talks to move forward, like I told you, these talks began in 2018. So for an agreement that spanned over 5-6 years to finally come to fruition, some negotiation and some kind of compromise had to be reached. And thankfully the member states reached some compromise that had this LGBT clause, which was a major sticking point for this agreement, expunged from the agreement, so that a lot of its members can feel comfortable to sign that agreement.
Okay, so something is very clear here that initially this proposal for the support of the group was in that agreement, and it was taken out after objections were raised.
Absolutely.
Should we as a nation still go ahead? Because, you know, when treaties are signed like this, subtle silence or non-communicated points are made. We are looking to collect development, economic, and whatever, human rights, and whatever the Samoa agreement brings, but we have told them to take out something, rather than just, you know, say we are not a party to this because of what it might have been colored with initially. Don't you think we should, as a nation, totally remove ourselves and not sign this agreement for the purpose of future confusion?
That's you throwing the child away with the bathwater. You look at the overall benefit of this agreement to Nigeria and find ways to still get those benefits without hurting yourself. And that's what Nigeria and these other countries have done. If every agreement comes on an LGBT clause and then you exclude yourself from it, how then do you partner with other international partners? How do you do that? You have to find some kind of middle ground. That's what countries do. You lobby around it, you find a way around it and discuss these things. And that's why these things don't happen in 1 or 2 days. It takes protracted time for this agreement to be so, because the countries or member states who want to sign this agreement want to look at it line by line, detail after detail, to be sure that they are well and truly protected from this. It would be counterproductive for Nigeria to give up all of these benefits just because there's a clause that we can negotiate the removal, which is what we did, and I think that's an absolutely smart move from Nigeria and other member states.
Just like one employee's contract is different from the next employee's, based on what you can negotiate, right? Let me just take this call from Ife, calling from Abuja.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Hello? Yes. Hello, Madam Morayo and the other people on the panel. Yeah, I really want to speak in support of the media outlet that came up with that report. I feel the government, even though they have the right to want to defend themselves, prosecute the media outlet, but I feel that it looks petty, really, because if the government can come to the glare and make clarifications and make things open, citizens will not be distrusting the government when they speak. I feel much more like trying to use an hammer on a tiny hand. Seeking clarification and making clarification can just get things too easy, and then everybody can move, because there are plenty of issues that are stronger than that. Government will not go to court over it. Look at our petrols now, almost 21,000, and everybody is keeping quiet. Why can't government prosecute all those sellers so that we can have our peace? We have better things, but defending the tiny things that distract us has become what they want to run after. That's just my little submission. Thank you.
Yes. All right, so
sort of answered it, which is, I was going to ask, what would be the demerit of completely, not signing this agreement, especially where we have signed many of these agreements and they sort of have the same benefits anyways to our country. Beyond the LGBTQ, for me, is also the part of being a country in Africa, and this, new move of trying to be quite sovereign from, the West, and in some of these are our laws. What would have been the punishment, even if not just demerits, like punishment, if we had not gone ahead to sign this? Were there any?
Well, 1 out of every 4 or 5 black person in the world is a Nigerian. So I don't think Nigeria has anything to fear if we don't sign an agreement. There are no punishments, there are no reprimands that Nigeria can suffer directly from not signing this agreement. We could have pulled out, but I do not think it would be in our best interest. It's not like these nations can sanction us for not signing this agreement. No, that's not the case. It's just a simple case of us looking at the benefit of signing this agreement and find out how best this, because the truth is that we are well and truly behind a lot of nations in the world, and we need to catch up. And we need these agreements, as many as they can, to help us catch up with these other countries who have gone ahead of us developmentally. So we need to be open to collaborations that can push us in the right direction. And I believe this is one of such. So the only thing that, it's not a punishment like you put it, the only detriment of not signing this is that we will still be rolling around this mountain in another 10, 15, 20 years, while other countries are benefiting from it, while still excluding this controversial LGBT clause. So that's it. I don't think there's any reprimand that Nigeria can suffer by not
Let me get to the
signing
final
this.
question for you.
Yeah, and then like I noticed that the agreement can be renegotiated every 20 years. So if we're not comfortable with anything, like you said, that there was a letter that accompanied the agreement. So hopefully, if we're not comfortable with anything, we hope that we can renegotiate before the 20 years tenure that the agreement gives. Yes.
Let me take this call to add to the question.
Absolutely. We can renegotiate. Yeah. The first agreement was signed in 1975. It was then called the Lomé Agreement, and then we had the Cotonou Agreement in year 2000, and now we have the Samoa Agreement in 2023. So, these things, it's an evolving situation. Right. So if at any point Nigeria feels uncomfortable, we can always very easily pull out of this agreement.
Let me take this call. David, thanks for calling. Good morning, David.
Yeah, I don't want to make a contribution. It is unfortunate. There are some things that goes, in the social brand, things that have happened in about 3 or 5 years. People will be calculating it. Things that are very, very misleading. And this is exactly what's happened in this issue. Journalists are supposed to be investigative journalists. They should look at their facts before they go, because these are things that can cause chaos in the country. And I think the newspapers, for instance, go and do their own work very, very well before they go out into this type of thing. It is very clear, for instance, everything that has happened, the information that has been prepared, for everybody on the top, they should always do their homework before they don't cause this type of condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think I'll let Mr. Hamed Mustafa go. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us on the show today. We appreciate your comments and thoughts on this. I'm going to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss this further, because what the last caller was saying is very important. Newspaper agents, we are guided by certain ethics, but online isn't so graceful, in the sense that when something comes on, the conversation spurs on, and then it sticks more than usually when something happens on the news media platforms, on television. You can do a rejoinder. You can actually have a redress. But usually online, it's so difficult to do that, because once it goes out there, that's it. It just catches fire, and then, as the minister has said, it can cause a lot of mayhem in the society. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss this further. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Still discussing the issue. Let us take a few comments on social media as we wrap up.
Mr. Pepper says, even after the deadline, several African countries. He says, I think this kind of contractual agreement is a matter of.
Okay, I'm told that your mic is off. Sorry about that. So I have to come to Mariam. Any comments for you? Okay, no comments?
No. Tubes.
Comments? Okay.
Video tubes. Ishola being says, no agreement can override any country's constitution. Just Rizzi says, while parties will commit to promote, protect, and fulfill all human rights, be they civil. Oh no, I'm not used to reading.
Okay, your mic is back. Anyway, so let me allow our guests to have the, because I know I had signed him out earlier, but I'm told that he's still around. Okay. So, Mr. Mustafa, let me let you do your final words on this concerning this, because a lot of Nigerians are still questioning why we had to go ahead to sign it at all. So maybe you have to help address that once and for all.
So just so that we're clear, it's well within the rights of average Nigerians to question the agreements that our government signed. I think it behoves on those who are responsible for government communication to do a lot more in bridging the communication gap. It shows that there is a distrust between the governed and the government, and that can only be bridged by proper communication. And then, maybe the media houses also need to be a little bit more responsible in their affairs and ensure that they do not misinform the general public. That for me works. But on the final note, I want to assure Nigerians that this law that has been signed, this agreement that has been signed, is totally 100% to the benefit of every Nigerian. And again, just so that we're clear beyond reasonable doubt, there are no LGBT clause in this Samoa agreement that the country has gone ahead to sign.
That's good to know. Thank you so much, Mr. Mustafa. At this point, I can allow you to go at this point. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. Nima was going to say something.
It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
A lot of our viewers online are afraid of the venture. They call it economic prison. Somebody used the word economic prison. So we're benefiting from somebody we know that it's like we know in this family they eat pigs, and you're a Muslim and you don't eat pigs, and then you come and say, oh no, it's pig I will not eat, but I want some rice from you. Are you sure, really sure, that eventually it is not pig oil, pig something that will be given to you? Are we totally, as a country, not playing with our sovereignty in entering on any of these treaties? We've seen a lot of agreements that has clogged our progress as a country. We've seen some agreements that have, if it smells it, stay away from it. That's where I see.
That's why
when we bring it and we domesticate it, and tomorrow we hear that the agreement in itself, in its entirety, is what is now being compelled upon us to enforce. And after we have collected something.
Yeah. And that's why we always bring in guests to clarify things, because we can see things from only one perspective as Nigerians. Yes. People who know, I've said, we've been signing this since 1975. This is not the first time we're signing it. They've been called different names. So we know what, as a country, we can't live in seclusion of what's going on in the world. So we have to sign some of these agreements to be able to help catch up. So he has only mentioned things and like also human rights, human development. That's what, but there's so much more, I'm sure, the agreements. It can't be all about that. There's so much more.
And also, I think what many of us should take away today is that he had said to us the government did its due diligence, and where they have put in place, saying that we have read it, and this is our understanding of it. If at any point in time it is, it does not go with what we think we understand, we can step out. And I feel that that is something we should take. All the questions now and all the doubts that we have, I think that they're valid. But we have also seen that our federal government understands our constitution and has taken the right steps to protect our own rights.
We should trust that they've done that too, because many of us, even though the federal government is telling you this, we choose to hear what we want to say. No, we not want to. We sometimes we filter it through our own cynicism, which is understandable, because we understand how the governance have been in our country for so many years. So when government says, don't worry, we don't trust it, because we have also seen them goof several other times. And just like Nima said, several other contracts we've said that has actually beclouded our judgment in different things. So certainly, I get where Nigerians are coming from, but sometimes we have to just be willing to accept and see that
they said this partnership is
and as a nation, we can't live in isolation. And the best part of this whole thing is that it's a public document. It will be made available, on mainstream everywhere for everybody to go through and stuff. So that's amazing. It's not a hidden document. There's no mystery to it. Okay. It's a public document.
We said the partnership is about trade agreements, human rights, environmental promotion. They also emphasize that it's of some economic benefits to us and developmental benefits. I'm hoping that we can only get those ones, the benefit that we consider beneficial to us as a nation.
Okay, let me take Ade from Atlanta. Good morning, Ade, you're live.
Good morning, how are you doing?
You're live, go ahead, please.
Yes. I'm quite in support of the last call. I think the media outlets, they need to do their due diligence before they publish any news out there, because once the news goes out there, it can make or mar, the government, and actually, shape the society. So I'm quite in support of what the government is about to do to the new outlets. They actually publish the other news that was incomplete or that was incoherent. So I think the media outlets will look up to them to get information. At the same time, they need to take responsibility if they are taking any decisions that they feel is not correct. They need to retract it, and they need to do a pretty good job. So I just want to quickly put that out there. So thank you so very much. I'm a lover of the show. I wake up like 4 a.m. To follow you guys. Everyone, you're all doing a pretty good job. BC, Fofe, the whole crew,
Thank you so much,
really enjoy the show.
Good to know
you
your
have
fans
a good
in the
day.
US. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I'll follow you guys.
Oh, thank you.
So Oduayo Jayola says, make them the play. I don't think it's possible to expunge a part of any agreement.
Even though you just told us.
That just said Nigerians.
That's
why it's difficult to govern this country. Because you say you're doing this, Nigerians will not believe you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have to just buy a new country from somewhere.
Said other countries didn't sign it, so why did we sign it in the first place? Now come out to say it was expunged, make them the bobo themselves.
Oh, no.
And you're taking that comment. Nima is reading those comments.
But I think...
Whether or not, we are 200 million plus.
We're also trying to educate and re-educate Nigerians to rethink and redo things the way we do. Because we are so used to thinking a certain way. But one of
we have this power deal that we were celebrated. And we are finding out that it's even more enmeshed in litigation and wasn't even really beneficial to us as a people. To today.
Which one is this?
We have one other
one in China.
We're in court. We had celebrated the victory.
What's the name
we are
of that?
finding out another action has already stolen it from us. You see anything?
So because that is the skepticism that many Nigerians have. But where do we?
You should lose that mindset.
At what point do we decide as a nation that I'm going to trust my government? At what point? So if we keep debating it, Nima, if we keep debating this thing, do we want a nation or not?
No, for me, it's important. We need validation from foreign countries.
No, nobody's validating it, no. We are saying that we cannot live in isolation. We are saying that we have agreements.
But we support China when they live in isolation and abuse their nation. We use the example all the time.
I don't know about how we supported them exactly. They cannot live
after it abuse itself.
No, but what I'm saying is that it's okay for us to have these doubts because of what has happened before.
Certainly.
But when we have been given facts.
Yes, we should
Let's take
it.
Now, it's not, don't color it with anything, but have they given you a fact? A fact has no coloration.
Will it be made public to you?
Just that they said it's a fact.
I'm asking.
Well, he mentioned it and they say it's a public document.
Tomorrow he's no longer in office and the other person saying, no, it wasn't me, it was me. Are we not Nigeria?
It's a public document. We're all going to get to know that.
So I want to understand this part, Nima. I agree with you.
No, but I also understand.
We have been very skeptical. In fact, we don't trust anybody. In fact, all of them are thieves, Abi? All of them, they don't even know what they're signing. They all go there and they have no clue. Let's assume that. So what happens then?
Stay as your.
So you, is it Nima that wants to go and represent? No, is it now Nima that wants to represent me in
Samoa?
Is it you?
Develop
Are you the one?
Trust Nima to
Is it Amaka that wants to go and sign for me? I'm not saying.
Internally, stay here, develop here, leave this external treaties alone.
No, but you cannot.
That's your perspective.
Why can't you?
Okay, we'll bring it back another day. So this conversation of let's leave all these external.
I don't want problem. I don't want problem.
So this is a topic.
Development.
Should we leave all the external agreements and influences alone and focus on? That's a very good topic. No. It's a conversation worth having, and I think we're going to bring in experts to have a good conversation so that Nigerians can know if
get out of ECOWAS, get out of AU, get out of UN, just get out
of the whole thing and just be alone.
Then when countries come to fight you and to colonize you, then we'll see who comes for you.
That's all we can take on today's show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.